present on the occasion, our distinguished sponsors, session judges, participants, today, event organizers, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. I welcome you to the second and the concluding event of this premier ISR function. Just to recapitulate the proceedings that went off yesterday, we witnessed some of the best speakers from industry and academia who deliberated upon and discussed their insights on the role of decarbonization in Indian steel industry and also the vital role that is played by steel for economic development of India. Our focus has always been on long-term sustenance. These power-packed sessions from Shri S.S. Mohanty, MD and CEO, SR Midland Private Limited, Professor Ram Kumar Kakani, Director, IIM Raipur, and Shri Sushim Banerjee, CEO, India Iron and Steel Sector Skill Development, brought out key insights on how the steel business is going to get impacted with the future technologies, the way we graduated from a capital expenditure based industry to an operational expenditure based business and now to a carbon expenditure based business. These sessions were complemented by the enriching discourse given by Dr. Rajiv Prakash, Director IIT Bhilai, and Professor N.V. Ramana Rao, Director NIT Raipur, where they brought out key insights on the way forward for steel industry and adoption of hydrogen for producing green steel. Yesterday, we witnessed about 15 technical presentations, which was a fantastic experience for one and all. Our business partners and presenters had given a very good presentation and key information on how the decarbonization is going to take shape and our steel industry is going to change. So by 35% in 2050, it becomes more crucial that we take decisive steps and address the carbon emission norms. I take this opportunity and invite my first boss at Bhilai Steel Plant, Shri Vinod Kumar Arora, ex-Chief Executive Officer, upcoming technical session. I also invite Shri Ashit Saha, CGM about Shri Vinod Kumar Arora. He is a hardcore technocrat with an experience spanning more than 5 decades in steel plant operations, project management and mining. Sir has performed leadership roles in various steel industries like Steel Authority of India Limited, SR Steel, Bhilai JP Cement, Earth Stal Private Limited and VO. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you over here today among us. I shall now request our technical paper presenters to please take their seats on the dais. I'll call out their names. Mr. Nitesh Ranjan, Bokaro Steel Plant. Mr. Rajiv Banerjee, Center for Engineering Technology. Mr. Sanjeev Varghese, Bhilai Steel Plant. Mr. Abhijit Das, RDCS, Bokaro Subcenter. Ms. Shuma Afreen from NIT Raipur. Mr. Somraj Chakravarti, Set Ranchi. Before we commence this technical paper presentation, we would like to introduce you with, we would like to rather request our participants to please keep the timeline of 10 to 12 minutes, restrict their presentations to 10 to 12 minutes. We have made a provision for buzzer. The first bell will go at the 10th minute and subsequently after 2 minutes the second bell will go. So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning to all of you. We are going to start the 6th session and today's first session. We are having 6 papers. So the rule of the game would be each participant will be given around 8 to 10 minutes. They are requested to finish within that time. And maybe if the time permits, we can have an audience question if required, if the time permits. So I will first call upon the first participants to present the paper. Greenhouse reduction in iron and steel through the resource efficiency and technological intervention. Sri Nitish Ranjan from Bokaro Steel Plant.
A very good morning to all of you. I am Nitish Ranjan, AGM Environment Conservation and Sustainability from SAIL Bokaro Steel Plant. Actually to start with, when the taking which is okay. Basically, India has committed to the world. Basically, there are two NDCs. There are necessary demand contributions. The first one is to reduce our GHG emission intensity by 45% till 2030. The second NDC that we have submitted to United Nations Convention for Climate Change, that is to increase the quantity of our renewable energy by 50% till 2030. Apart from that, as per the Panchamrit, we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emission by 1 billion ton till 2030, and we also need to increase the renewable energy production up to 500 gigawatt by 2030. So these are some of the commitments that India has made as per Panchamrit as well as NDCs, and who will fulfill this commitment on behalf of India? It's the industries who are operating, and as we know, the contribution of iron steel industry from India perspective, it's 12%. So that's why the government has come out with the many regulations. For example, this ECERT, that is carbon certificate trading business, that will be launched soon in 2025. And the first industry which will be covered under this carbon certificates exchange would be iron and steel industry. That will be followed by cement industry. So we would be under pressure to reduce our greenhouse gas emission. Apart from that, there are other issues such as ESG funds. Right now, the investor, they don't want to invest in a business that is not sustainable. Investor don't want to invest in a business which is going to be closed down, which is going to be a loss in next few years. So it's very important to reduce our carbon footprint so that SAIL or any steel iron steel company can attract ESG fund. Second and third is the customer. If you will see the today's generation, today's children who are learning in schools, they want to go for more sustainable products. अगर यहाँ एक glass रखे, शीशे का glass रखे, and we have a plastic glass, then most of us, I think every one of us will go for glass. शीशे glass पे तब जाएंगे. Because people right now they want more sustainable products. Even the new generation, they are more environment conscious than us. So that school children would be the CEOs. They would be the customer. They would be the decision maker in the next few years, and they would look for more sustainable product. They may look for products which have less carbon footprint emission. They would look for products which have less impact on the environment, and there comes the role of your GHG emission reduction as well as your carbon footprint reduction, water footprint reduction, waste, recycling. All those things come into picture at that level. So we have the various factors which are going to impact, and all the industries, including iron, steel, cement, they need to gear them up to reduce their overall carbon footprint. So, English is over or still? Okay. Okay, so this I was discussing, this I will not repeat further. So we are promoting renewable energy, we are investing in technologies. So basically SAIL Bokaro is working in this 6 major levers, that is operational efficiency in existing process, adoption of best available technology in our models plant, renewable energy, circular economy, culture that is ready for net zero, and So basically this is the decarbonization strategy of Shell Bokaro Steel Plant, where we are working on raw material quality improvement, process improvement, technology addition and decarbonization. So in raw material quality improvement, we are working on operation of new blocks in Kiriburu and Megadapuru, expansion of Goa mines and verification facilities in pellet plant. In process improvement, we are going for this basically TRT waste heat recovery. And in technology addition, we are going for new step charge battery and CDCP, new blast furnace, new mills, that is without creating furnace, direct rolling mills. And in deep decarbonization, we are going for carbon capture and storage. So basically the impact that we have assessed from raw material quality improvement is 15%, from process improvement is 30%, and from technology addition it will be approximately 25%. So recently, for example, we have commissioned our new SMS with continuous casting system, and we have phased out our ingot route, which has helped us to save approximately 3 lakh calorie of energy per annum. Similarly, commissioning of LD gas holder in SMS2 has helped us to save 1 lakh ton of boiler fuel. LD gas recovery from SMS1 again saved approximately 30,000 ton of boiler fuel in our BPS in our power plant. Similarly, use of surplus BF and LD gas to point number 9 through new pipe that will save 75,000 ton of boiler pool. Then waste heat recovery from hot blast stove has helped us to save 50,000 calories from 4 blast furnaces. So these are the various steps that we are taking to reduce our overall energy consumptions as well as reduce our carbon footprint. And these are some of the operational parameters that we are working on it. For example, use of pellets, pulverized fuel injection, BF top pressure, how it impact and reduce your greenhouse gas emission. Hot blast temperature, high quality iron lump and high FE sinter. So there are some of the factors. I will just like to highlight one thing, that for example, if we are replacing sinter by pellet, the carbon footprint of sinter is approximately 330 kg per ton of sinter. On the other hand, pellets is 137 kg. So it's 50% for pellet. So there are a few of the factors. Suppose we are able to save 1 kg of steam, 195 per ton of steam that we are consuming, its carbon footprint is 195 kg. So all these factors help us to assess our strategy to reduce carbon emissions. So basically, Shell Bokaro is working on reduction in corporate enhancing CDI, maximizing of LD gas recovery, switching to LED and UVF drives, and retrofitting of energy efficient and non-free technology. For that, we have identified few KPIs that is applicable for all the iron industry, which include crude steel, corporate, CDI rate, fuel rate, VF productivity, coal to hot water ratio, specific power consumptions, BF gas export to your power plant, steam consumption, specific energy consumption, graduation, that is waste utilization. We have also identified department-wise KPIs that we have working with this department. For example, in case of coke oven, its gross coke yield, BF coke yield, coking coal, that we have specific energy consumptions, sale of various byproducts from coke oven. Generally for center plant, for RMP, it's limestone consumption, dolomite consumption, flux consumption, coke bridge consumptions, specific energy. For limestone, there are the various KPIs that we have identified for RMPs. For blast furnace, the main KPIs are net coke consumptions, fuel rate, VF productivity, specific energy, specific heat, specific power, VF cell conversion that we are exporting to our cement industries. Similarly, there are the KPIs for SMS, which include pet coke consumption, ferroalloy consumption, specific energy, and how much LD gas you are going to utilize for power generation. Similarly, in WINJO, the basic issues that we are facing is our specific energy consumption and specific heat consumption. So if we have somehow reduce it, that will help us to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. The other some of the parameters for energy management department, which include maximum utilization of your byproduct gases, steam consumption, minimum flaring of gases, and upstream and auxiliary losses, how to reduce it further. The other some of the KPIs for utilities which include consumption of oxygen, nitrogen, and other gases consumption. So in our upcoming expansion and modernization, we are going for base oil technology, which include tall coke oven batteries with coke dry cooling plant. Then we have a waste heat recovery system in central plant. Then TRT and bigger blast furnace with better technical parameter. And for rolling mill, we are going to have direct rolling mill DRM, which will phase out the utilization of this reheating furnace and will reduce the overall energy consumptions in mills. So these are some of the highlights introduction of this, that we are going to in the next expansion plan of the Bokaro Steel Plant. For renewable energy, we are going for 220 megawatt of renewable energy in the form of 30 megawatt of floating solar power plant that will be installed in cooling pond 1. Currently, we are going for land-based 20 megawatt solar power plant near Surya Sector 4. Then rooftop 10 megawatt. We are also going for 110 megawatt PPA agreement with SECI. I believe that IT is another enabler that may help every industry, including industry to reduce its overall carbon footprint. So SAIL Bokaro has done, for example, we are basically using IT in our steel ladder tracking system, machine health monitoring, mobile application for Coco and SMS News, and QR code for SOP and SFP. So this particular this ladder tracking system helps us to improve overall productivity in SMS. So that means you are able to produce more steel with less resources because you can increase the number of feeds. So that will help you to reduce your overall greenhouse gas emissions. Similarly, we are going for this predictive maintenance using various sensors, and we have come out with this mobile lab for Coco. We are operated and see the live operation of its Coco batteries. These are the QR codes. So these are the various digital projects that we are going on at SAIL Bokaro. Similarly, from circular economy is another level that can help us to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emission. For example, we are using our mill scale and sludge for making briquette that is being charged in SMS converter. We were the first plant to introduce biodiesel in our locomotive and use of plastic. This is one of the biodiesel that we are using for utilization of food waste. Converting biogas using waste food material. We are also using pure block and bricks using LT slag. This is the trial that we did using sludge and mill scale as cooler in our SMS converter. For carbon capture utilization, we have already done it, tested for 1 ton per day reactor. We are going for 15 ton per day reactor, where basically we will be using blast furnace gas for making CO2 from flue gas of blast furnace and making palmitic acid. And so the other thrust areas that we are working with include reduction in corporate use of Industry 4.0, promotion of circular economy, reduction of coal and gas in our existing blast furnace, increased share of renewable energy, process efficiency using preserved technologies, recovery of or possible heat loss, and reduction of carbon capture utilization and storage at SAIL Bokaro. So these are some of the points that I have jotted down. So just
kindly sum up within 1 minute.
This is my last slide. I believe steel is not only made using blast furnace SMS B. It is the man behind the steel. So it is very important to change the people mindset regarding greenhouse gas reduction. And for that, we have conducted a series of training program at SAIL Bokaro. And we are trying to foster the culture of sustainability across iron steel workforce. And there are some of the initiative of SAIL Bokaro that we not only make steel, we also try to the touch of life among the people who are living around in Bokaro and across Bokaro. And we would be happy to know that Bokaro was declared the first global active partner city in India because of various activities pertaining to people who are living around it. They are chairman, So my concluding remarks would be let's collaborate to win, because everyone is doing something at their own level. So that is it's very important to share the best practices that we are adopting across iron steel making, and so that we don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nitish ji. Any question from the audience? We can take one question if anybody has anything to ask. Mike, please.
Hello, good morning all. In one of the slides you have compared the sinter and pellet emissions rate. So in sinter you have shown 330 and in pellet 137. So have you also calculated the emissions which have gone during the process of pellet production in that?
Yeah, we have considered that only, because in case of sinter making, you need to use heat as well as you need to use this coke fines for making sinter making. So we have also considered that the overall carbon footprint of pellet is approximately 50% of that of sinter. Also, pellet improve the overall permeability in the blast furnace. So that again help us to. So its overall carbon footprint at most 50% of that of sinter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nitish ji. And because there is paucity of time, so we will quickly move on to the next presentation, that is CO2 carbon reduction in sales through process efficiency by Shri Rajiv Banerjee from CET. Rajiv Banerjee.
Good morning. Good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais and all my seniors and colleagues in this August gathering. In this 2-day long seminar, lots of avenues for CO2 reduction have been discussed and will be discussed. Some of these avenues are already available in commercial, and some of the avenues are already in development stage, and some are only in concept stage. My presentation is regarding the avenues which is already available, and in addition to CO2 reduction for sale, it is also helpful for increasing the bottom line of the sale. Now, after the industrial revolution, the greenhouse gas emission from anthropogenic sources already started rising from 1800. But in the last 6 and 7 decades, particularly after 1950s, you can see there is an exponential growth in this greenhouse gas emission. And due to this exponential growth, our planet is on the verge of catastrophe. You can see the sea level rising fast, particularly after 1950s, and you can see that after this spring snow cover, it is already started declining after 1970s. And in this greenhouse gas emission, major contributors in the world are mainly China and USA. And 65% of this greenhouse gas emission comes from CO2 emission, and that's from burning of fossil fuel. So we need to reduce this burning of fossil fuel at any cost to save our planet. And CO2 emission from major industries. You can see these 5 heavy industries, that is oil and gas and cement and steel, concrete and coal mining. Most of these 5 heavy industries is representing 80% of the industrial emission. There are other emissions like agriculture, transportation, all these. And in this industrial emission, 6% is coming from steel. And steel is a hard to abate sector because of its high temperature requirement of processing. In India, 240 million ton of CO2 was emitted in 2020 from steel making. It is approximately 12% of total CO2 emission from all the sources. And by 2030, it is projected that 450 million ton of CO2 will be emitted from steel industry. And to mitigate that risk, SAIL has come a long way from 2005 and 6, when SAIL has 3.1 ton of CO2 emission per ton of crude steel. And in 2022-23, it has come down to 2.49. And our target for 2030-31 is 2.19. So we have recorded a 19.7% improvement in last 20 years, but we have to go for further improvement. For SAIL, fortunately, there is a gap available in its efficiency, which if we can reach, then we can reduce our CO2 emission in addition to increasing our bottom line. And for this, you can see that both this CTI and fuel rate, there is ample room available for improvement. Here in this table, we can see the competitor CDI and fuel rate vis-a-vis CDI by sale and its competitors. And decarbonization through blast furnace efficiency is doubly rewarding because it also decreases your hot metal cost in addition to CO2 emission reduction. This is from clause 7 appendix 3 of the CO2 user guide of WSA. You can see per ton of coke burning emits 3.527 ton of CO2, whereas per ton of BF CDI coal emits 2.953. So if you can replace the coke with CDI and replacement ratio comes to 1:1. You have to achieve for 1:1. It is not easy to get 1:1, but if it comes close to 1:1, in that case you get the benefit of this gap from 3.527 to 2.953. Similarly, if BF injection coal is replaced by natural gas injection, there is also chance of CO2 reduction because for natural gas 2.015 ton CO2 is emitted per 1000 normal meter cube, whereas for CDI coal it is 2.953. So there is further improvement in CO2 reduction in blast furnace. And these are the enablers for CO2 reduction in blast furnace. This has been developed by RDCIS after years of operational experiences. For every change of the parameters like coke ash, coke M10, burden Fe, pelleting burden, blast temperature, oxygen enrichment, slag rate, and silicon in hot metal, and top pressure and alkalis. What are the effects on coke rate and BF productivity? It is being shown here, and all our subsequent calculations what I will show is based on this and CO2 user guide of WSA. What I have shown. Now, as I have shown, for every 2% improvement in Fe content of burden material in blast furnace, it is 4% improvement in productivity we get, and 20 kg coke rate comes down, and 60 kg per ton of hot metal CO2 emission reduction is there. Based on this, we have calculated if we complete this project in Goa, Bolani, Rauhat and Taldi, we get the CO2 emission reduction. For Goa it is 1221, for Bolani 275, and for Rauhat it is 977, and for Taldi it is 733. And these projects we are already in pipeline. Stoves of WHRS in blast furnace 3 it is already under execution, and stove and WHRS in BF2 Bokaro it is under pipeline and will come soon. And from BF3 after installation of the stove and WHRS we will save 232 ton of CO2 every day, and for BF2 it is 522 ton CO2 per day. And these TRT projects, we have identified 3 blast furnaces for TRT, that is BF1 of Rourkela, BF7 of Bhilai and BF2 of Bokaro. And CO2 emission reduction possibilities from these furnaces are also mentioned here. That is for BF1 Rourkela it is 77 ton per day, for BF7 Bhilai it is 111, and BF2 Bokaro it is 119. And stamp charging battery with CDCP. Stamp charging battery with CDCP, it helps in improvement of coke moisture and coke M10 also, and 4% reduction in coke moisture and 1.5% decrease in M10 for a 1 million ton CDCP with step charging battery, and for that we get 353 TPD of CO2 reduction in blast furnace. In addition to this 353 TPD, 175 TPD CO2 emission reduction will also occur due to steam generation, which will happen in the CDC. And together 528 ton per day reduction in CO2 emission is envisaged for a 1 million ton stamp charge battery. This 1 million ton stamp charge battery is planned in Rourkela, East Coast Steel Plant and Bokaro Steel Plant. Thin slab caster in place of hot strip mill. It was discussed yesterday also. In thin slab caster, our energy consumption is 0.1 gcal per ton, whereas in conventional hot strip mill, it is 0.3 gcal per ton. So it is already 1/3 energy consumption in the thin slab caster and direct rolling. And for if you consider a 3 million ton HR coil production, means 9,091 ton HR coil per day, and if coke oven gas and blast furnace gas ratio is 1:1, we can arrive at a total CO2 saving of 653 ton per day from installation of a 3 million ton thin slab caster direct rolling in place of conventional HR coil, conventional hot strip. Sale is also going for brownfield expansion in Bokaro, Durgapur, and greenfield expansion in Durgapur and East Coast Steel Plant. And our CO2 emission target is in this in Bokaro we are targeting 2.15 ton per ton of crude steel. In DSP brownfield it is 2.26, and DSP greenfield which is based on DRI. It is 1.45 if we use natural gas and 2.16 if we use syngas. And ISP greenfield it is 2.09, and if you inject natural gas in blast furnace, in that case it will come down to 1.83. To sum up, we can say that it is good to go for the disruptive technology, as shown yesterday from Tata Steel also, but for now, for sale, it is ample opportunity for CO2 reduction from already available sources, because in Tata Steel they are already very efficient, but we can improve our efficiency, and thereby we can reduce our CO2 in addition to improvement in cost and techno-economics. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Banerjee. First of all, thank you for completing the presentation within the normal time. I will request audience question if anybody has anything to ask.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible. You are audible, sir.
Thank you, sir. My name is Kalvi Pratap Singh. I am from Nepal.
Thank you. While showing this data for carbon emission, actually I just wanted to have clarification for any expansion or for the existing one. There are two factors. You must have included the carbon emission from power, electricity that they need, or that is not included. Because scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 is a different calculation.
Yes, it is all together. Scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3.
So, no. So, carbon emission is from the using electricity, whether that has been included.
Yes, it is.
So, within that, whether what portion of renewable energy, that means we are not electricity that is available is not 100% from the fossil fuel.
Yes.
So, whether you have considered that also, these figures include that factor, and what is that factor?
No, these figures actually include the factor that is from Central Electricity Authority. You can see that 0.71 ton CO2 is emitted for every megawatt hour of power consumption. That is including the renewable power also. This is from Central Electricity Authority. This figure we have considered for this.
Okay, because WSA has a different number.
Yes, because in WSA you can see that is close to 0.5 ton CO2 of per ton of per unit of per megawatt hour. But in Western countries there is lots of renewable energy. In India there is no such so much of renewable energy. For that we have considered the Central Electricity Authority.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. For the paucity of time, we will not take any more question. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Banerjee.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your excellent presentation. Let's move on, and next presentation will be from our home plant, Shri Sanjeev Varghese. His topic is decarbonization initiative in our center plant. Mr. Sanjeev Varghese.
Good morning, sirs. Yesterday we had a detailed discussion on decarbonization and its impacts. How we have to transit from a fossil fuel age to a non-fossil fuel age. But today I will be talking about the process optimization in sintering plant. The various initiatives we have carried out in sintering plant, and this will be discussed in a broader manner. As you all know, the greenhouse gas emissions will limit the increase of global temperature. So we have to, it has become a necessity. So we have to shift to usage of low carbon energy sources. The main challenge for steel makers, especially for in billet steel plant, is high silica and high alumina content in ores will lead to high energy cost. This is the main challenge, and then we have the other challenge is our old machines. We have also switched to various new technologies like coke dry quenching, cinder plant heat recovery systems, TRT system in blast furnaces, and long ago we have started the CDI injections. These are the best available technologies we are using. The specific CO2 emissions ton per ton of crude steel, which is hovering around 2.66 now, and our target by 28-29 should be 2.27. If you see the energy balance of a sintering plant, the sintering reaction heat is around 19%, the waste heat cooler section is around 30%, the waste heat in cinder section is 25%, the others which include the cinder sensible heat, the cinder return heat and various unburned losses comes to around 26%. This is the total energy balance of a cinder plant. With the project being undertaken in cinder plants, the waste heat recovery is in machine 4. We have taken waste heat recovery in machine 2, in dispatch of steel burners, the handling, wood, fixing. And as you know, in cinder machine 1, we already have a waste heat recovery system. Now the SP3 team is doing a wonderful job in installing a waste heat recovery system in machine 2. How this waste heat recovery system works? As you all know, the sources of heat recovery is the cinder cooler area. The circle area, that is the heat recovery zone, is the cinder machine discharge end and the cooler where the hood is fixed. This is the main heat recovery zone. From here we recover heat and we, through the heat exchangers, we have two heat exchangers. One is the gas heating exchanger, through which the pipe, the soft water is heated, and then it is sent to the plate heat exchanger where it heats the process water. This process water is being used in M&T and it helps in to improve the boiling index. And this is the flow diagram where the hot air from the center coolers goes to the hot air heat exchangers. Then this soft water, which is preheated, goes to the plate heat exchangers, and the process water heats up to 19 degree, which is used in the M&T. These are the various schemes. The ID fan is used to suck the hot air from the cooler, and we have a screw conveyor to discharge dust, a damper to varying the flow of hot air heat exchangers to recover heat from hot air, and a plate heat exchanger. Coming to the machine to cinder cooler. This is a circular one. Here what we are doing is that a single stage heat exchanger is being installed. This we are using the draft of the hot air fan and then it is sent to the heat exchanger where it heats the process water. And then we will be using it to heat the cinder burden material in iris mixture. And here it helps in better improvement in the butter properties, in the boiling index. The hot air volumes is around 50 to 60 Nm per hour. Temperatures will reach around more than 200 degrees centigrade. Water quantity to be used is around 30 tons per hour, and hot water temperature will come to around 80 to 90 degrees. The results are the heat recovery. We have 1.5 gigacalories per hour. Reduction in coke grease in consumptions around 2 kg per ton. Expected reduction of CO2 5,000 tons per year, and improvement in productivity by 2.7%. The other benefits include improvement in tumbler index by 1%, the center quality. These are the main benefits of the system. The other novel initiatives taken by the sending plant collective are installation of split burners instead of side burners, then fixing of post-combustion hood. We have an annealing hood, then we are fixing the post-combustion hood. Then installation of 600 gas pipeline for improving the gas pressure. At present, we are also using the quarter fraction of CDCP dust from coke ovens, and our future plan is to use the abundant availability of biochar. We have already, the SP3 team, which I already have told that I am doing an excellent job. I have already fixed the columns and the base. The next shutdown of around 16 to 20 hours, we will be installing the hood, which is being shown here. It will result in a reduction in coke grease consumption by 2 kg per ton of cinder. Other novel initiatives include the cotton flame ignition systems, which will help in reduction of gas consumption by 30%, reduction in deterrent generation by 2%, and the total overall CO2 emissions reduction will help. mentioned, that is having 1:1 replacement ratio, which you get from the battery level components during dry quenching coke cleaning system. Already there is a plan of installing 2 million ton pellet plant, which are already discussed by SET. The renewable energy rooftop solar installation in our administrative buildings, installation of VFDs, and replacement of old motors. In a nutshell, this is our projection, and thus I conclude my presentation that SP3 is also taking part in a big way to reduce emission, to reduce the reaching the sale target of 2.27 by 27-28. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev Varghese. Any question from the audience? If there is no one, then thank you. Thank you once again for your excellent presentation on the efforts of decarbonization in the sintering plant of BSP. We'll move on to the next presentation, and that is coke moisture reduction strategy with surfactant enhanced quenching water. This is by Mr. Shri Abhijit Das from RDCS Bokaro Sub-Center. Shri Abhijit.
Good morning, respected panelists and respected conference delegates. Myself, Abhijit Das, I am going to present in the Indian Steel Conference on the topic of coke moisture reduction strategy with surfactant enhanced quenching water. We have earlier discussed that several new technologies are being installed, which are going to be installed for CO2 reduction strategies. And also there are some process enhancement parameters which are also being undertaken to reduce the CO2 emissions. One of these RDCS initiatives is coke moisture reduction with using surfactant enhanced quenching water. The roadmap of my presentation will be the flow of introduction, trend analysis and problem statement, then coming to the plant trials, trial result, and finally the conclusion. As the trial was conducted at Bokaro Steel Plant, so giving a brief about Bokaro Steel Plant. That Bokaro Steel Plant is an integrated steel plant of SAIL. It has 6 functional coke oven batteries of 69 ovens each, with useful coke chamber volume of 27.3 cubic meter and 4.7 meter height. Seeing the annual highlights of BSL financial year 23-24, the ovens pushed per day were 512, hot metal production was 4.72 million ton, crude steel production was 4.31 million ton, and saleable steel production was 3.99 million ton. Now seeing the trend analysis, comparing the production trend of ovens pushed per day, we see that there has been a gradual increasing trend from 421 ovens from 2020-2021 to 512 ovens pushed in 2023-24. And also seeing the techno-economic parameters trend of coke rate, we have seen that coke rate has gradually increased from 477 in 2021 to 487 kg per ton of hot metal in 2022-23, and then it decreased to 468 in 2023-24. As we all know that coke contributes significantly to CO2 emission as well as the cost economics of hot metal production. So there are several parameters in which coke rate can be controlled, and RDCS selected one parameter, that was coke moisture. As per literatures, it is assumed that decrease in 1% in coke moisture leads to decrease in coke rate by 3 to 5 kg per ton of hot metal. In block 2, which comprises of coke oven batteries 7 and 8 in Bokaro Steel Plant, the coke moisture varied from 5 to 6%. The objective of the project was to reduce this coke moisture by around 2%. And the main reason for choosing surfactant was that the addition of water-soluble surfactants in quenching pond aims to decrease the surface tension of the quenching water hence resulting in better wettability and faster evaporation from the coke surface. Initially, RDCS conducted some pilot oven trials with varying concentrations of surfactants. With all those trials, we concluded to some percentages, and from these percentages, we conducted plant trial at Bokaro Steel Plant, and quenching point 3 was selected as it catered to cocoon battery 7 and 8. So the surfactant was added in the concentration of 0.009 to 0.013%, and this percentage was on the basis of the RDCS pilot oven trials. And quenching time of quenching tower 4 was at that time 105 seconds. But as the trials went on, and we saw some hot spots were generated at the warp end, and to reduce those hot spots, the quenching time was increased from 105 seconds to 120 seconds to reduce those hot spots. Here we can see the pre-surfactant addition quenching point situation and the post-surfactant addition after adding the surfactant. It's just like adding surf excel in water. These surfactants are sodium-based polymers, and the result was that, as we can see from the WAF coke as well as the skip coke, that grayish portion of coke is more, indicating that the coke moisture is less. This was also seen from the graph, which we can see that the pre-data, the coke moisture varied from around 5 to 6%, and during the trial period, this data was hovering from 2 to 4%. And this reduction in coke moisture was also reflected in the coke rate trend in PF4. Concluding our trials, the main objective of our trial was reduction in coke moisture so as to reduce the coke rate. With addition of surfactant, coke moisture of block 2 coke reduced from an average of 5.1% to 3.1%. This was on 1 week trial, so the data was based on that. Coke rate of BF4 BSL also reduced from an average of 445 kg per ton of hot metal to 442 kg per ton of hot metal. Reduced coke rate leads to lower CO2 emission, and these process enhancements also leads to the goal of decarbonization initiative of SAIL. One thing we have to mention is the regulation time and quenching time has to be seen for hot spot management. Thank you.
Thank you for your sweet and sharp presentation on the efforts made in the coke moisture reduction. Any question from the audience? Can we have the mic, please?
You have been telling about sodium-based surfactant. Can you give me the commercial or market name of that content?
Sir, actually, this was not prepared by RDCS, so we just took the surfactants and we got the trial. So there are several companies, so we will not like to take any names. Yeah. There are several in the market, sir. Based on the cost economics, the plant can decide whichever it has to take. And sir, if we have to take a name, sir, IOCL is a PSU, so IOCL also provides the surfactant. And it has a MOU with SAIL also, sir.
Just Google it. Just Google it.
क्या बोले सर?
Google कर लीजिए मालूम है.
हाँ.
It should be some kind of silicate. Any question from I think.
Hello. Since you are from RDCS, I want to ask, are you planning to introduce this in other steel plants also, like your trial project at BSP?
Pardon?
Are you trying to introduce it in other plants also, like we have also quenching ponds?
Ma'am, we have done this trial at Bokaro as well as in Burnpur. So as per the plant request, we are moving forward, and we can also do that in Bhilai as well.
Thank you. Just one question. What is the increase in the cost of the coke? By adding it?
So cost,
How much is the increase per ton in rupee?
cost of the BF coke, sir.
Yeah, when you add, there must be a cost associated with it.
So actually the cost economics I have not done.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then we. Actually, there's I think one more question. This should be the last question because we have to finish within our time.
Abhijit, okay, thank you very much for a very good presentation. My question is, we are talking about the addition of some surfactant, some kind of intermediate product to reduce the CO2 emission. Okay, the only concern is, are we considering the footprint of these surfactants? That is, there is a footprint. Whenever we are making something for addition, it is also having some footprint. Just like if we are adding pellets, that is in the overall CO2 emissions, we are adding the pellet footprint also.
Yes, yes.
So, are we considering this surfactant footprint? Because many times when I go through the literature, they are only saying that okay, because of addition of this, your CO2 emissions will come down. But when you do the LCA, what is happening is the surfactant or whatever the intermediate product that we are adding, that footprint is more than what it would have happened without the addition of that particular.
Sir, I can just comment on the IOCL surfactant because we are dealing with the IOCL, so they are making the surfactant from their waste products, sir. So they are reducing the footprints in their own end. So if we
the question is, that is, you are making certain product. The product, any product must be having some energy value.
Yes.
So it will have some CO2 emissions. Okay. So because of that thing, you are able to reduce your own CO2 emissions. Okay. So it should be added to, because as per the WSA methodology, that is the scope 3 emissions are to be added to the overall emissions. So my particular concern is, whenever we are doing this kind of studies, that is, it is very important to consider what is the upstream or the downstream footprint of these products. Okay, then we will come to a particular idea, that is what will be the actual CO2 emission reduction.
Yes, sir, that's what we will take in mind while doing these trials, so that we can take the CO2 norms from the back end also, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sri Abhijit Das. We move on to the next presentation, and that is usage of steel slag as a partial replacement in the concrete production. I will request Uma Aprinji to present the paper.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries present here as a panelist and all the members present here. I am Uma Aprin, research scholar from Civil Engineering Department in NIT Raipur. I am here to give presentation on use of steel slag in construction industry, a review. As we all are aware that in recent years there has been a significant surge in the global demand and supply of steel as a result of the ongoing process of modernization. As we know, the production of steel results in the generation of steel slag, a byproduct that ranges from 130 kg to 200 kg per ton produced from the crude steel. The specific proportion and type depending on the production process can be different. So, to increase the utilization of steel slag in construction industry, there has to be some methods to employ. Here we will be going to discuss in detail the various applications of steel slag in construction industry, that is used as an aggregate or as a cementitious binder. This is the graphical abstract. The steel slags which we get from the steel industry, after processing there are various uses that steel slag can be used as a waterproofing material. It can also be used as a geopolymer concrete, bricks manufacturing, radiation, asphalt mixes, foam manufacturing, self-compacting concrete, So how these all use of steel slag can impact the properties and elemental composition. So basically the view of this presentation is to use more and more steel slag as coarse aggregate, fine aggregate and the cementitious material. As we all know that global steel slag production is more in worldwide production is 400 million tons of iron and steel slag are generated annually. China's contribution is maximum, which is around 100 million tons of steel slag. Similarly, European nations also has some 10 million tons per year. Indian production is about 27 metric tons of blast furnace slags and BOF slags is 8 metric ton. 2.5 metric ton is of EAF slag and 1 to 1.5 metric ton is of IF slags annually. So here we can see there are we are well aware that production of steel slag is more than the utilization. To increase the utilization of steel slag, there should be some methods to incorporate it. So there are some global initiatives and policies made by different countries. The benefits of using steel slags is the environment. It has environmental benefits, economic advantages, and performance improvement. The various types of steel slags we have is BOF slag, electric arc furnace slag, ladle furnace, and blast furnace slags. From this literature review, I have got to know that the major element present in the steel slag is silica, calcium, alumina, iron, magnesium and manganese along with some traces of some other elements. So if the composition of steel slag is between these range, that is if calcium is between 30 to 40, it can perform better as in concrete. These are the applications of steel slag in construction industry. It can be used as a replacement of aggregate so that the natural aggregates, the use of natural aggregate can be reduced. It can be used as a cementitious material. Some type of steel slag partially which have high calcium content can be used as a supplementary cementitious material which can replace the cement and third application is the geopolymer composite. Steel slag can be incorporated in geopolymer mixtures and it can also be used in the road construction as the aggregate replacement. This is the steel slag in the construction. We will be going to discuss one by one all the sustainable solutions. Steel slag, when it is used as coarse and fine aggregate, coarse aggregate replacement up to 4 to 7% will give a better compressive strength. When it is replaced as a fine aggregate, replacing 30 to 50% of natural fine aggregate will increase the compressive strength by 4 to 6%. When it is when EF steel slag is replaced, it gives compressive strength between 35 to 45 MPa. When steel slag is replaced as a cementitious material, the low water, when we talk about concrete, we are more concerned about the water cement ratio. Lower water cement ratio will give higher compressive strength. So to replace the cement with steel slag, there should be a low water binder cement ratio. At water binder ratio of 0.35, steel slag gives a comparable result to the conventional concrete. Optimal replacement is 30%, which provides maximum strength of 47 MPa at 28 days and 73 MPa at 360 days. It can be used as a brick manufacturing with steel slag. The clay-based red ceramics can be replaced by 5% weight of slag and 5% weight percent of fly ash. So better microstructural property, and it will also reduce the sintering process temperature. It can also be used as a high density concrete. Steel slag can also be used in the asphalt mixes. Optimal percentage is 40% steel slag can be reduced as coarse aggregate and 40% can be reduced. 40% of the steel slag can be replaced as fine aggregate. Next application is foam and self-compacting concrete. Up to 30% of the replacement shows a better result. And in self-compacting concrete, 30% fly ash and 50% steel slag as pore aggregate can show a better result and a good compressive strength also. And the workability reduces. Okay. Next application is ceramic and waterproofing. As the density of the concrete increases with the increase in steel slag aggregates or cementitious material, this proves that the mortar or the concrete which we are making can be a waterproof mortars. Next important application is geopolymer concrete, which is 100% replacement of cement. Here we can see the binders are the fly ash, steel slag or metacaolin, red mud. All these are the industrial byproducts. When it is activated with alkali activators like sodium hydroxide and sodium silicates, on mixing it forms a polymerization chain reaction, and on hardening and setting this forms a geopolymer concrete, which is equivalent to the conventional concrete, which is made with 100% cement or a partial replacement of cement. So here we can see that at 28 days result, at 28 days the compressive strength is 42.81, and if it is replaced with 0.4 to 0.5% steel fibers, it shows a better compressive strength and flexural strength. These are the environmental impacts and future prospect. It can, by using more and more steel slag in the construction industry, it can reduce carbon footprint, and it will bring economy also by reducing the landfills and stockpiles around the steel industries. This is the table which shows utilization of steel slag in construction industry. The different countries use different types of steel slag with either in the form of aggregate or in the form of powder, and their applications in construction industry or in road industry, it has been given with references. Steel slag can be used as a sustainable resources for construction. By utilizing steel slag, it can reduce its environmental footprints while potentially enhancing the material performance. These are the research and innovation which can, which will be further for the researchers will be going to do, and this will be a future direction also to study the microstructural property. As we all know, the steel slag has higher density than other binding materials, so it is important to go through the microstructural analysis, hydration study, how it is behaving like cement or not, heat evaluation, and new applications like geopolymer, foam concrete, etc. From this literature paper, we can conclude that steel slag as aggregate or powder, it enhances the compressive strength, durability properties are also improved, workability may decrease a little, but it can be adjusted by using some or the other admixtures. Density increases, thermal properties can also enhance by using steel slag as aggregate or powder in concrete. These are the applications. We have already discussed about this. It can be used in road construction like the asphalt mixes also by replacing steel slag as a coarse aggregate and fine aggregate. It can be used in concrete production. It can be used in ceramic tiles. It can be used in geopolymer concrete where 100% cement replacement is taken. These are the environmental benefits of steel slag. The resources conservation are done by using steel slag. Reduces the need of natural aggregate like coarse aggregate and fine aggregate, which can conserve resources and reducing the wearing impacts. CO2 reduction is also done as the cement is replaced by the steel slag, and so it will reduce the CO2 emission also. It in turn saves energy, and the waste reduction is also done by utilizing steel slags. These are the challenges in steel slag utilization. So the researchers are working on this parameters like every industry, every steel making industry have different composition of steel slag. So there is a variable composition. So that has to be standardized, and the expansion issues are there in some type of steel slag aggregates. And the processing requirement, that is, it has to be crushed, it has to be weathered. These are the challenges, and there are no standard specifications. The future outlooks and sustainability will be sustainable urban development. The increased use of steel slag in construction could contribute to more sustainable urban development. The economy will also increase. The steel slag utilization is the key component of the circular economy, turning waste into valuable resources and reducing the use of virgin material. And there are the future sustainability, like we can bring sustainability from the ongoing research, that continuing research and innovation will likely lead to new applications like improved performance of steel slag. This is the conclusion part. The increased cooperation between the steel and the construction industry is crucial for maximizing the use of steel slag. The steel slag utilization promotes a circular economy by reducing the industrial byproducts, and the innovation, the continued research and innovation steel slag application will lead to more sustainable and high performance construction materials. Future direction. It is important for every researcher to go through the long-term effects, like how it is behaving in long-term performance. So, long-term performance study should be done. Optimization of technique should be done to enhance its cementitious property. And life cycle assessment should be done to quantify the environmental benefits and potential impacts of steel slag.
Thank you. Any question from the audience? Anybody would like to have a question? One question only. We have one more presentation. Each year.
Madam, first of all, I am thankful for your wonderful presentation, detailed presentation, use of steel slag in construction industry. Madam, we have a very large quantity of blast furnace slag. Rather, we don't have a space to accommodate, because due to the high gain content, the slag generation is very high. But Madam, you have mentioned somewhere your presentation related with the CO2 reduction, CO2 emission. You mentioned somewhere, but still it is not clear how it is related with the reduction in the CO2 emission. Could you please further elaborate?
So, as we all know that cement production emits CO2 in the environment. So, by reducing the consumption of cement, we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission, and it can be used when we go for geopolymer concrete. Geopolymer concrete is a concrete in which the cement is 100% replaced by fly ash and by the other industrial byproducts like steel slag, GGBS. So this can reduce the carbon dioxide emission.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you, Afrin. We will move on to the next last presentation in this section.
Thank you. One more question is there. Myself, BPN from FSNL. We are handling steel slag and iron slag, and this is very good presentation by NIT Raipur. My question is that if this is only possible when content of iron and steel can be separated 100%. Then after it is possible, have you gone through this matter? And second question is that have you gone through practically application on these models? Because without any practical application, there is no use of research and R&D. Because we are working in last 50 years in India, all over India. Thank you.
What he means that how can you separate the metal from the slag? That is their question, I think.
There is two questions. First is separation of iron and steel, and second is what is the practical application? Are you gone through any test model of this? You have shown in your product range like tiles, ceramic, polymers, foams, and cement aggregates.
Question is that how will you separate the pieces of metal within the beer slag? That is the first question. And second question is whether you have tried it anywhere, all these things, has it been practically tried? I think that is the question. Maybe you may answer.
Sir, I am a research scholar in NIT Raipur. I am doing my project, I am doing my PhD thesis on geopolymer concrete. There I have utilized fly ash with steel slag. Approximately 30% replacement of steel slag I have done, and I have achieved around 42 MPa at ambient curing. So this can shows that we can replace the steel in concrete production. We can replace the steel slag, and whatever the materials we are getting from the industries, we are directly using it for the production of geopolymer concrete. So we are not aware about the separation of elements from the
iron content is very marginal in that. We are interested in calcium and silicon.
Yes, the source material which we are using in the geopolymer concrete is aluminosilicate precursor, that is which are rich in alumina and silica.
Calcium.
Yes, sir. Please.
Because I am associated with this. For the last 7 years, I am working as a consultant for the waste material recycling. The waste to wealth is a topic which I normally discuss, and this is one of the subject in that. And I used to also participate in a subcommittee of FICCI. That subcommittee was made under the leadership of Dr. Saraswat, ex-member Niti Aayog. And there were very eminent, technologists from all over the countries, from BIS, from construction company, from materials sourcing, Roadkey and all that. And I was invited as an independent, consultant. And here we discuss a lot for use of steel slag in the construction industry. And then during these deliberations, it was between late 80 to early 20. Then Corona came and we stopped doing it. There was a one modification done in IS, BIS 383. It was modified to accommodate steel slag as an aggregate in the concrete. There were many other steps, those were also discussed, like use in as a rail blast. So I remember when I was CEO of Bhilai Steel Plant, we had sent this for the RDCSO approval and took pretty long time, but still it continued. And during this deliberation, RDSO cleared that also as a
blast material. Similarly for
roads also.
This is being now used as an aggregate and many roads.
And about 500 kilometer roads have been constructed by using steel slag only. I hope I have answered.
Thank you, sir. And I request you to take the seat. Thank you, Ms. Afrin. We will go to the last paper in this session, that is usage of hydrogen in the steel industry. Roadmap to reduce the carbon emission from steel industry. I'll invite Mr. Somraj Chakravarti from CET Ranchi to present his paper.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries on the dais and present in the auditorium today. Myself Somraj Chakravarti and I am DGM Utilities at CET Ranchi. And yesterday onwards we are having a very good discussion on what should be the roadmap, what are the probable features which steel industry should adopt to bring down the carbon emission limits. And today also in the first half we had a presentation from my colleague Rajiv, who explained what are the low hanging fruits and which features should we adopt to get the advantage quickly. My presentation focuses on use of hydrogen in steel industry. As we discussed yesterday also, that this is a intermediate phase approach. We will be decarbonizing in phases. So first phase is implementation of all the process efficiency parameters. Second phase will be use of cutting edge technologies like use of hydrogen. Third phase we will be approaching CCUS and other technologies. So as I start, I give you some pictures, and we are all aware of the changing climate around us and how we are experiencing ice fall or snowfall in the deserts, smog over major cities in Earth. Right. This is a picture of Ranchi from where I come, and you see the time map of Ranchi from 1985 to around present time, and how industrialization is growing rapidly all over India and all over world, which is also a major concern for decarbonization. In this slide, I have given all the greenhouse gases which are responsible for, we know, ozone layer thinning and everything. And if you see CO2 over here, it has a major lifespan. That means it remains much more time in the atmosphere. So our focus is on reducing CO2. Here, we all know that in 2015, Paris Agreement has been made for limiting the temperature to 1.5 degree of pre-industrialization stage, and all the nations who are signatories to this has given their commitments, and India also has a commitment of achieving carbon neutrality by 2070. Steel, coming to steel sector, we all know that steel is a infinitely recyclable material with same properties. So steel industry is here to stay for a long time. We are talking about circular economy and generation of scrap. So that scrap management is also needs to be enhanced so that circular economy is more brought about. Right. So here it says that application of steel is recycling is potentially endless, the life cycle, and around 500 MT is being recycled annually. World steel production is growing by leaps and bounds, and the last year figures, India is odd 144 MTPA, and we are also enhancing as per our target steel mission. This slide, everybody, we are aware of it, that steel is contributing around 7% of the world CO2 emission, and in India it is around 10-11%. And if the present level of CO2 emission continues in steel industry by 2030, where we have a plan of achieving 300 MTPA, we will be emitting around 750 MTPA odd CO2 in the atmosphere. So because of this, the CO2 intensity has to be reduced definitely. These are the major steel making technologies, the BF route and the EF route, DRI EF route. And we all know that BF global, it is responsible for 70% of steel production. And in the traditional blast furnace compared to electrolytic processes, this is the footprint of CO2. Just to give an idea that we have to approach and embrace the latest technologies in future. Now coming to carbon neutrality and today's topic, use of hydrogen. So this is the traditional reduction equation in the blast furnace. If we replace it by hydrogen, the reduction is possible, but it has some other disadvantages also. We will come to it. Depending on we know hydrogen is colorless, odorless, but depending on the production process, we have divided it into several colors, right? From natural gas, from coal. If we produce it, we name it as grey or brown. If we incorporate CO2 capture with it, we name it blue hydrogen. Green hydrogen, MNRE has given a definition to it that if the annual footprint, CO2 footprint of production of hydrogen is around 2 kg CO2 per kg, then we can call it green hydrogen. CCUS carbon capture is there, but storage, India is having limited scope. Of course, Geological Society of India has earmarked some areas in the eastern zone where the major steel industries are there. Some fault lines are there, and that has to be further developed. So CC storage is a major constraint, but we are exploring many ways for usage of the captured carbon. If you see the hydrogen production and consumption, the 22-23 figures, around 120 million ton per year, and roughly 2/3 is produced in pure hydrogen, other portion is mixed with other gases like our own byproducts, CO gas, we have around 45 to 50% of hydrogen, so that is counted in hydrogen generation. Green hydrogen's role, the major production process is the electrolytic process for green hydrogen, and we know in electrolysis the major cost is for the power cost, which generates the hydrogen costing. Also, if we approach green power, then this is just a figure what I have put, that this is a NTPC 250 Montsor solar plant, and approximately 1 megawatt of solar power will require on 2.5 to 3.5 acres of land. But fortunately, Government of India has renewable backing, and there is a plan of achieving 523 gigawatt of solar and renewable powers by 2030, of which 22-23 figure says 150.4 gigawatt already January 22 has achieved, and it is progressing. So the great question is, when will hydrogen become a cost competitive industry? We have discussed it yesterday also. If you see these are the 22-23 figures, it has come down by some portion because of this. So present cost of hydrogen, if you see in energy terms, it is around roughly 9 times of our byproduct gases, right? So when does it become cost effective? If you see the world to come, this is the October 21 figure where the electrolyzer based hydrogen plants are installed, and compared to it, if you compare the present world map, so if you see most of the hydrogen production areas which was concentrated in Europe, and now in Asia also projects have been planned, and we are fast going towards it. Hydrogen usage in many industries, it is predominantly in oil industries, chemical sectors, in transport areas, hydrogen based transportation is already there. In steel industry, chemical sector, it was already there. Steel industry, we are planning to use it in areas. If you see this map, steel mills, if we have the renewable energy, it can be converted to hydrogen and it can be used to the end consumer. From steel industry, wherever CO2 we can capture, we have to get it and convert it to other byproducts like ammonia, methanol, and use it in the industry. So what should be our approaches for decarbonization? There is 3 basic approaches. One is circular economy, where we increase the usage of scrap in our processes. Second is smart carbon usage, some processes where we have to use, we cannot forego at this stage. So in that process, by default, carbon gets emitted. So how to use that smart carbon capture? We have to capture it, use it, recycle it in the process, or if you capture, use it to produce some other chemicals. Carbon direct avoidance, this stage involves use of alternate resources like hydrogen and green energy. And using hydrogen in our existing processes like injection in BF or hydrogen based DRIs. Green electricity is for renewable powers, which will be used in green steel. So challenges of hydrogen, without going into the details of the equation, we know that hydrogen, when it acts as a reductant, it is a endothermic reaction. So because of that, we have to place some heating arrangement in the system. So existing system has to be modified. There are some studies which says around 13 kg hydrogen per ton of hot metal has an effect of reducing CO2 by 200 kg per ton of hot metal. And pilot scale trials are presently undergoing. Some trials have been taken by ThyssenKrupp, Duisburg, and they have already injected hydrogen, tested it in one of the tuyers, and they have a plan of extending it to all 28 tuyers. This plan is there. In Nippon Steel, they have already experimented with using COG and hydrogen in the blast furnaces, Coast 50 and Super Coast 50. In DRI portion, using natural gas is an existing well-established setup, and hybrid has incorporated hydrogen usage in it. POSCO is also experimenting in the fluidized-based reactor in the high-risk process. So what should be the roadmap for use of hydrogen in BFBF? This we have already discussed yesterday. I have just put it point-wise. In the BFBF, we are presently in the trial stage, so enhancing knowledge base on hydrogen injection, establishment of pilot plant we have to do, replacing wherever the life cycle of blast furnaces are nearing completion, we have to replace it with large energy efficient furnaces. And injection partially replace PCI by NG or COG depending on the availability and economics. Subsequently, mix and increase the percentage of green hydrogen. And to counter cooling effect in the raceway, external heating has to be explored. In the DRI route, similarly, confidence, knowledge, technology has to be done. Closure of coal-based DRIs, installation of new gas-based DRIs. SAIL is also planning for DRI units future expansion plans. Use of natural gas and existing gas-based DRIs, gradually replacing natural gas by green hydrogen based on commercial right, so that is all from me.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti. Any question from the audience? We can take a question before we sum up the session.
Very good morning. I am Deepak from SMS Group. One of the observations I have is that you have mentioned that PCI is replaced by COG injection. But in my opinion, COG injection is a better decarbonizing agent because it replaces coke. Maybe 1 kg of COG replaces about 0.65 to 0.75 kg of coke. But you have considered only replacement of PCI. Replacement of PCI is neither economical nor ecologically sound.
Yes, so these what we have mentioned are all the trials which are underway, which is in various phases. Rightly you have said if we replace it by COG in the injection of COG, it will have because COG also has the hydrogen content, right? So these are all different phases of trials and.
It is not a trial; it is now industrially established.
Right, sir. So we are seeing it and exploring it all the different avenues I have put here. Right.
Thank you. Any other question? Last question from the audience, then we would like to sum up the session because we are exceeding that time limit. Last question, please.
See, one process is carbon capturing, another is hydrogen utilization. So either of two, which is more economical, because hydrogen cost is very high as on date. And carbon capturing and reusing into the system is a competition between. Any study on this?
The carbon capturing, sir, is a very costly affair, and depending on the carbon emission, what we are giving per ton of steel, I think Tata Steel has already installed 5 TPD plants, and cost is very high, and we are also exploring that. Production of hydrogen, green hydrogen, by electrolyzer. If we see, I have not put here the graph, but it is in my paper. If you see the capex involvement which power plants are giving for the future green energy, cost of electricity, some 2 years from now, they have put it at around 2.5 to 2.9 rupees per unit. It is going to come down. So cost of green hydrogen is basically based on the power input cost, which is presently around 4 rupees per unit, 4.5. So if that comes down, the cost of green hydrogen is going to come down. And we are hopeful, sir, that presently at Bokaro we have compared, and definitely if the green hydrogen cost is available at $1.5 per kg, then it will be beneficial for the industry.
See, there is a new process. In fact, it is very old process. Now carbon dioxide is captured by lime solution. So that work is also going on. So their success, I don't know, this is in experimental stage, but they are directly, in earlier days if you remember, people used to put lime into pond and other places so that air will be purified. And whatever carbon dioxide which is available in the atmosphere, that is mixing with the water and providing oxygen for the fish and other species in the water. So these ponds were playing very important role in the environmental development.
Carbon dioxide capture, we are also exploring the avenues. We are in talks with various suppliers like Carbon Clean and others, but it is still to materialize because of the cost and some other aspects. So,
because ultimately you have to, for hydrogen production, you need to have electricity. Right. There also you will be, solar is not the only solution.
Right.
So you need electricity, but this natural process which is under study, I think may be useful. Thank you.
Both ways are being explored, sir. Let's see.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti. We had some 6 excellent papers from the different participants here who have presented that, and it varied from various technologies in decarbonization. Lastly, I will request our chairman session to sum up the session and for his expert comment. Shri Arora sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. It's my pleasure to be amongst this galaxy of steel makers all over India, and it was my pleasure to meet my ex-SAIL friends and BSP friends again. Well, at this 2 days workshop, it was a very welcome initiative by Bhilai Steel Plant. In fact, it is very relevant in today's day. Global warming, as most of the speakers have said, going up. Our temperature has gone up by 1.5 degrees centigrade, and it is affecting the climate very badly. So there is a need. So, and the main component, one of the main component is the carbon, these greenhouse gases, CO2 emissions. So since yesterday we are discussing, there had been many presentations. Today also we had very excellent presentations. I would definitely like to appreciate the efforts put by the speakers. The first presentation was GHG reduction by Mr. Nitish of BSP. Yeah. Well, you did lot of efforts, lot of data you collected, and the main point that you taken, I will appreciate, is the carbon footprint and the carbon trading. If this comes, in fact, I am also working as a consultant for last 7 years. In my presentation, Waste to Wealth, I did give lot of emphasis on the carbon footage, but these are unheard. Nobody looks at that. So recycling is one of the main, area through which we can help the decarbonization and also on the carbon points. Mr. Nitish also discussed various technological improvements. And I will appreciate stem charging. Unfortunately, SAIL has not brought even a single stem charge plant so far, in spite of the efforts being put for last 15-20 years. I hope at least now something will be done here. Well done, Mr. Nitish. Second was, I think, CO2 reduction in SAIL plant by process efficiency by Rajiv Banerjee of SAIL. He did also a lot of efforts. He got a lot of the data. I would have been happy if he had given the international benchmarks also, like coal to hot metal. At the SAIL plants, I think it is about 800 kg per ton, and the global mark is somewhere around 550. Likewise, coke rate, ours is around 500, and the global mark is around 300-350. So if those global marks were also international benchmarks were given, probably it will encourage our young engineers to at least try and achieve that. Many points given by you towards the raw material improvement are welcome really, and we must put our best efforts to do all these things. And I think SAIL is working on this. Sorry. Third was I think decarbonization initiatives in sinter plant. I have full sympathy with the sinter plant, Bhilai steel plant. I am really sad to see its situation. The present raw material condition in which they are working, silica around 8%, and I do appreciate the way they are trying to manage. And I just compare about 14-15 years back when we were there and how it is working now. The return center used to be around 12%. We used to aim at to bring down to 10%. Now it is about 22-25%. Because of the raw material. Main problem is the raw material. Likewise, the ESP generation, it has doubled. FE in ESP is also significantly, earlier it used to be within around 30%, now it is around 45%. Why? Because we are using, we don't have that much iron ore fines to convert it to sinter. We are using whatever material, whatever our mines are able to give us. We are using that, and in that process lot of fines are coming. So that's why ESP percentage has also increased. We are also using initiative was taken, beneficiated slime concentrate. That also we are using, but since it is size is a minus 100 micron, so about 40% goes in the ESP. It's simply a wastage. Cocoa 1 CDC dust which we are putting, that also goes into the ESP because of its size. One very good suggestion we had been giving for years together to Bhilai steel plant is use of micro pellets. If all these fines are converted into micro fines, this dust going through the ESP dust generation will get reduced. Its properties will definitely improve. Anyway, hopefully the wisdom will come and they will start using the micro pellets in sinter plant for an effective use of the whatever raw material that we have. Fourth was the coke moisture reduction, Bokaro. Since I have worked in coke commerce, this was very close to me. I had also done certain efforts in this. In fact, I had gone to Tata and we brought from there. Rapid water quenching system we brought, and we also brought down the moisture level from 5.5 to 4%. And now their effort of bringing it down to about 2% is very, very well appreciated. And kudos to the collective of Bokaro and RDCS for doing this job of using surfactants. It was a nice presentation. Number 5th was the use of steel slag as partial replacement of concrete. Since I am associated with this project also for last 6-7 years, and as I told earlier also, I was being invited by FICCI subcommittee which was made for enhancing the uses of steel slag. And we all know that there are mountains of steel slag lying all over, major steel plants, especially SAIL plants. Private are still trying to do something, but SAIL plants all over, these are there. Mr. Ashwani is sitting here. He was also facing this problem and he tried to, get some solution about 5-6 years back, I think. And yes, his efforts brought some results. This year there was a tender, of course they have not taken decision for the award of micro pellet, same thing which I discussed earlier. so that these all waste materials are utilized as a micro pellet and then recycled in the plant through sinter plant. So, but this as I said, the BIS has modified in August 2019 their specification. BIS 383 has been introduced to use steel slag as an aggregate in the concrete. So, though this was presented by I think Afsarin Huma. Steel slag users are by. I really appreciate being an academician. You could bring so much data and you had so good suggestions for its application. It's a very good job done by you. And last was the usage of hydrogen in the steel industry. This subject is also very close to my heart, and it is the need of the hour. And I would just like to inform the House that in Sweden, the SSAB, they are trying to put 2 plants based on the hydrogen, 2 blast furnaces. It is in Oxelösund, and by March 26, they are targeted to complete these. So it is a new technology being developed, and there are other places also. I am told Tata is also doing certain experiment on hydrogen uses. In one of their old furnace, Mr. Tapasan Gupta was telling me that in F furnace probably they are trying to experiment. Okay. So there are efforts in this direction, and hydrogen is going to be our future fuel. It is going to replace fossil fuel. On the day it happens, somebody was talking about the cost of hydrogen because hydrogen where from we get through the power only. But now the power will be also produced through hydrogen only. And there are already 50 units in the Europe. They have been commissioned for generation of power through hydrogen. And Switzerland is leading. It is the leading country in generation of power through hydrogen. So a lot of efforts are being done. And in India, I find one Mr. B.R. Sharma. You must be aware of his name. Is Vice Chairman JSPL. He is the biggest propagator of users of hydrogen, and he is raising this point at the various forums with government for financial support in the capex of putting a hydrogen plant, and also giving some kind of a reward for those companies who are trying to put experiments on the hydrogen. So there are talks going at the ministry level also for the wider use of the hydrogen, and I hope soon definitely there will be certain actions and it will come. Well, at the end, I will appreciate the effort of BSP management in organizing this wonderful seminar, which is a need of hour, and I thank all the organizers. अपनी तरफ से साधुवाद देता हूँ उनको. बहुत अच्छा काम किया उन्होंने. Keep it up. Good. All the best to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a pleasure to have you over here, and we very much appreciate the way you could mine out the extracts from these presentations in a short time, and especially you added value to it, and your trademark benevolent way when you built out the topic of usage of steel slag in replacement of concrete. I now request our session chairman, Shri V.K. Arora sir, to please felicitate all the participants with a memento which is a mark of our appreciation. I now first call upon Mr. Nitesh Ranjan from Bokaro Steel Plant. Mr. Rajiv Banerjee Varghese. Mr. Abhijit Das. Miss Huma Afrin. Mr. Somraj Chakravarti. I now request CGM in charge MNU Shri Asit Saha sir for felicitating the session chairman Shri VK Arora sir with a memento. Thank you sir. I now request GM in charge plant garage Shri BD Babu sir to please come over to days for felicitating Shri Ajit Saha sir with a memento. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our moderator and rapporteur, CGM in charge, MNU Shri Aziz Sir for exceptionally coordinating this event. I also take this opportunity to thank each one of our participants to come all the way over here and share their precise and crisp presentation with each one of us. I now request the dignitaries on the stage for the kind dispersal and thank you very much, sirs.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.